My name is Salvador Reza. My name is Salvador Reza. I'm representing the National Labor Organizing Network in Tonatierra. I'm based in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what is behind the immigration repressive measures that are going on today. Arizona is the laboratory, in which a lot of things are going to be tried. They're going to be implemented nationwide through a variety of factors, including think tanks like FAIR, which are actually the brainchilds of a lot of what's happening here. The actual changing of the legislatures throughout the United States, like we saw in the elections yesterday, where John Brewer was re-elected mainly because of SB 1070. SB 1070, according to the United States of America, when they enjoined SB 1070, when they brought suit against the state of Arizona, they basically said that SB 1070 was not needed because the 287G programs already does everything that SB 1070 is supposed to do. And that's the truth. The 287G programs is a program that's in about 72 cities right now. There's about 72 programs, as I remember. And those programs, in reality, are agreements between local police and Homeland Security Department, where they basically train the local police to become immigration officers or ICE officers, where they can question people supposedly that they suspect of being in the country, quote unquote, illegally. So that means that if you are in Cuba and you look African American, they might think you're from Haiti. If you're in Mexico, in Texas or in Arizona, and you look brown, then immediately they'll suspect you to be an illegal alien, quote unquote. And as a result of that is that the 287G agreements, which actually came through in 2007, I think, in Arizona, they gave 154 officers, I think, were trained under Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Sheriff Joe Arpaio has the biggest 287G program in the United States, and at that time he was doing the streets and he was doing the jails. And by doing the streets, he was actually stopping. He would do raids. First, he started with a furniture store, and the furniture store he lent 4 off-duty ICE officers or 287G officers to actually supposedly secure a furniture store. But what they were doing, they were going after the whole neighborhood and day laborers, which were about a block away. And with that, they would actually arrest anybody and everybody that hopped on a car to go to work. And they would go to the buildings and threaten the building owners that if they didn't get rid of the illegal aliens, they were going to, basically come on top of them. And when that happened, we were able to defeat that. Then they, by actually demonstrating and actually boycotting the store, they actually went and started doing raids throughout the city. He has about 20 raids already in the last 3 years, where he specifically goes on the brown neighborhoods and he unleashes 200 posse. I'm not talking of posse and officers, to actually go after anybody for minor traffic violations, any little thing they can think of, so they can check your documentation. Now, the 287G programs are not only in Arizona, they're nationwide. And along with that, there's another program called Secure Communities. Now, in Arizona, they took away that, because of the pressure that we put on them, they took away the 287G program away from the streets. But they left it in the jail, saying that everybody in the jail is checked, and because everybody's checked in the jail, then there's no racial profiling. But the racial profiling happens on the streets, because every officer now, and with the SB 1070 specifically, even though they have the discretion, they don't have to, and that's all they're stopping right now with the SB 1070. Every officer can go and question you if they suspect you're illegally here and put you in jail. They can question you if you don't have your driver's license with you, if you're running, whatever. And they put you in jail. Once you're in jail, then they question you. I was arrested twice. Once because of civil disobedience, and the second time because I was close to a demonstration, and the Sheriff Joe was really upset because he thought I was organizing the whole thing without knowing that, you know, it was like a lot of people came from all over the United States, and they have their own mind and they can do whatever their own thinking. But he blamed it on me, and he went and arrested me. The judge said there was no probable cause. The prosecutor said there was no probable cause. And as it is, he just made a statement saying that he stands by, because we sued him, that he stands by his actions. Now, all of this is part of creating a climate in the United States where they're going to create a national police state of the types we have never seen probably in a long time. Like he was saying, you know, what was illegal back in the 1960s and 70s is legal now. And what is happening today, are using immigration as the Trojan horse to actually be able to go after anybody and everybody that questions the state. Sheriff Joe has arrested editors of the Phoenix News Times, and not only the editor but the owner of the Phoenix News Times. They went after him at 11 at night with a car with Mexican license plates. And if it wasn't because of the uproar of the newspaper, you know, the New York Times and everybody had an uproar, they would have probably put him in jail. After that, he started going after board of supervisors, politicians that opposed him, politicians that were they said, no, this is not the right thing to do. They started questioning them because they were arresting people inside of the county board of supervisors for clapping. On top of that, he started going after judges. Any judge that opposed him, any judge that ruled against him, he was immediately put on an investigation. He was actually investigating about 40 staff people within the county board of supervisors. That's the type of thing that is happening when you allow this type of programs to actually flourish. And a lot of these programs started because there was a well thought out strategy that started with FAIR under John Tanton, but it has been developing. Probably since I've seen it in action since the 1990s, since 1995. And they started like penetrating the legislatures, and they started creating this climate. And they're very astute about it. They created the Minutemen to go and harass people crossing the border for media purposes. But then they came internally and started the Minutemen going after day laborers, because day laborers are the face of immigration. You know, they're easy to target because they're on the street corners. And after the day laborers, after they came after the day laborers, then they started going after anybody that defended the day laborers. They started going after anybody and everybody that defended day laborers, and they started arresting people simply for marches, for doing things like that. Now, the situation has gotten to the point that right now it has transformed into what they call secure communities, where Janet Napolitano said there's no option. And you have to understand that Janet Napolitano was a governor for a long time, I don't know, like 8 years or more. And Janet Napolitano, by being our governor, in fact, started a lot of what is happening today. So she took the formula that she learned in Arizona and she's taking nationwide. And the nationwide formula is actually one where they're creating fusion centers. Fusion centers where they can, you know, under the guise of protecting ourselves from terrorism, you go after domestic terrorism, what they call domestic terrorism. And they actually, those fusion centers, anybody that goes through there, they actually, you know, check them against databases all over the world. But the main thing is that the target has been people, brown people. But the effects of it now are actually judges, are actually politicians, are actually lily white, mainstream people that decided that this was not right and they were going to oppose it within the law, within the terms of the law. And Sheriff Joe is the poster boy of what is happening. If you give the 287G agreements to a southern sheriff somewhere, you give the 287G agreements to somebody in Miami, which they have, the situation that happens from that is blatant violation of human rights. Right now, as I speak, over 500 people are being picked up and deported daily out of Arizona, out of the 1,100 that are daily taken out of the United States through the immigration system. And just to finalize it, this is a model that is not only beginning to happen in the United States, but it's a model that they're exploring right now in Mexico to take to the world because they're afraid of the migrations that are coming. So we're in for a long fight. Right now, as I speak, like I said, Jeb Brewer was reelected. And by Jeb Brewer being reelected, that means that they're giving an open check for persecution of quote-unquote brown people. But the end result is that anybody and everybody that somehow tries to help will be a target of this political scenario that we're looking at today. So afterwards, I'll answer any questions, and thank you for listening to me.